Yeah, not just to be nominated, but front-runner to win, really.
Yeah.
So, yeah, very a big deal for her. But then, you know, there's all kinds of challenges coming up in those supporting nomination categories. It's a bit less clear than in previous years, I think, some of those.
Yeah.
So those are some of the big films that you know, internationally people will have heard of, but also some of the smaller ones, and well, not that small, I suppose, the Banshees of Inisherin, and a lot of Irish talent potentially going to be nominated this year.
It is shaping up to be an incredible year for Irish acting talent. Yeah, if anything, more than the Brits that we're talking about this year. Certainly, Banshees of Inisherin, it looks like it's going to put Colin Farrell in contention for Best Actor. Also, of course, Brendan Gleeson is likely to be for Best Supporting. Yeah, it's just an incredible talent within that film.
Possibly up against his own co-star in supporting, Barry Keoghan. It looks like they could both be in that sort of category against each other. And then a lot of people are saying, will Paul Mescal sneak into Best Acting for After Sun? It's a fairly small independent movie, but...
He's, of course, known for Normal People,
yeah,
very famous wearing of a necklace.
Exactly that, the chain.
Did the necklace make it through to the film?
Well. I mean, it's the Oscars, they always surprise us, you never know.
And who are the other men that potentially could do well?
Brendan Fraser, they're saying it might be a sort of two-horse race. Brendan Fraser for The Whale going up against Colin Farrell. Brendan Fraser, you spoke to him actually, didn't you? It's an incredible performance, the prosthetics that he has for playing this obese man.
Yeah, hugely obese man, and the film's not out in the UK yet, so it's one to kind of start getting excited about with that nomination. But he's had such an interesting kind of narrative. He sort of has had something of a comeback story with this film, and it's a huge performance from him, a brilliant performance from him. I'm not sure the film will necessarily get heaps of other nominations, but he's set to be a front-runner in the actor category, definitely.
And what about the women? We've talked about some of the men. Who might be up for Best Actress?
Again, they're saying that the two front-runners this year are likely to be Cate Blanchett for Tar, playing this slightly toxic, very woman in a position of power as a conductor with the Berlin Philharmonic. It's an incredible performance for her. She had to learn to play the piano, she had to learn to conduct an orchestra, she had to learn German. So certainly she's put the effort in. She would deserve on that front to win. Up against Michelle Yeoh as the other main name that's being mentioned, really, for Everything Everywhere All at Once, who plays this laundrette owner who ends up jumping between the multiverse and having to save the universe. But Andrea Riseborough, can we just very quickly talk about Andrea Riseborough? A lot of the actresses within Hollywood have been making real efforts to point out the fact that Andrea Riseborough hasn't got much attention for the film To Leslie, and that she really deserves to for her performance.
Yeah, it's an incredible...
Is To Leslie out in the UK? I've not heard of it.
No, it's not, and to be honest, it's barely been out anywhere. It's taken hardly any money. It premiered at a film festival that isn't one that's known for kind of starting off Oscar campaigns, so it's sort of come out of nowhere. We think it's a really, really well-managed campaign, that perhaps they didn't have loads of money to run the usual marketing and PR strategy that is what tends to happen in Hollywood when someone's trying to go for an Oscar nom, and instead it was a very short, sharp week of lots of people talking about this movie and getting names like Kate Winslet, Jennifer Aniston talking about this movie.
So we've only got a few seconds to go until it starts. Who's hosting it? Who's announcing these awards today?
Oh, I don't think it's anyone particular.
It's Riz Ahmed.
Oh, it's Riz Ahmed.
Yeah,
British talent.
That's Riz Ahmed.
We're waiting for it to pop up, and I think we can go to it now. Let's cross to it.
Of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, Janet Yang.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Oscars nominations announcement. It is so exciting to be back live once again to kick off the official countdown to the 95th Oscars on March 12th. For nearly a century now, the Oscars has been the most esteemed celebration of movies in the world. It is a chance for us to showcase the very best films of the past year, and for global movie fans to come together as we shine a spotlight on artists working on both sides of the camera. Every year, nominees in most categories are chosen by their peers. Actors nominate actors. Film editors vote for the best edited movies of the year, and so on. But the final and most anticipated award, Best Picture, is chosen by the entire Academy membership. That's around 10,000 filmmakers and artists living and working in over 80 countries. And now, to present the nominees, here are today's hosts. 2022 Oscar winner Riz Ahmed, and the star and executive producer of Megan, Allison Williams.
Good morning, everybody. We've been awake all night getting ready for this moment. And we're so excited, so honored, so over-caffeinated to reveal the nominations for the 95th Oscars.
Good morning, everybody. Riz, I am so happy to be here with you. You've been nominated twice, and you won an Oscar last year. So I just wanted to know, did you watch this both of those times?
I did watch it, yeah, but I didn't wake up to watch it. And the reason for that is I never really fell asleep in the first place. There was just a lot of anticipation. And I know there's a lot of people who can't wait for us to get started. So without further ado, here are the nominees for performance by an actress in a supporting role. Angela Bassett in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Hong Chow in The Whale. Kerry Condon in The Banshees of Inisherin. Jamie Lee Curtis in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And Stephanie Hsu in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Next are the nominees for Achievement in Costume Design. Babylon. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Elvis. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. Riz, given the extraordinary sound design on your film, Sound of Metal, why don't you take this next category?
Got it. Well, here are the nominees for Achievement in Sound. All Quiet on the Western Front. Avatar, The Way of Water. The Batman. Elvis. And Top Gun Maverick.
Next up, here are the nominees for Achievement in Music, Original Score. All Quiet on the Western Front. Babylon. Yes. The Banshees of Inisherin. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And The Fabelmans.
And now we have the first of the two award categories that honor writers. The first is Adapted Screenplay. The nominees are All Quiet on the Western Front. Screenplay by Edward Berger, Leslie Patterson, and Ian Stokell. Glass Onion, A Knives Out Mystery. Written by Ryan Johnson. Living, written by Kazuo Ishiguro. And Top Gun Maverick, screenplay by Aaron Kruger and Eric Warren Singer and Christopher McQuarrie, story by Peter Craig and Justin Marks. And Women Talking, screenplay by Sarah Polley.
And here are the nominees for Original Screenplay. The Banshees of Inisherin, written by Martin McDonough. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, written by Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert. The Fabelmans, written by Steven Spielberg and Tony Kushner. Tar, written by Todd Field. And Triangle of Sadness, written by Ruben Östlund.
Now, it's with great pleasure that I get to announce this year's nominees for Best Live Action Short Film. An Irish Goodbye. Ifalu. Les Pupilles. Night Ride, and The Red Suitcase. Up now, the nominees for Best Animated Short Film. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Horse. The Flying Sailor. Ice Merchants. My Year of Dicks. And an ostrich told me the world is fake and I think I believe it.
No comment. Here are the nominees for performance by an actor in a supporting role. Brendan Gleeson in The Banshees of Inisherin. Brian Tyree Henry in Causeway. Judd Hirsch in The Fabelmans. Barry Keoghan in The Banshees of Inisherin. And Ki Hui Kwan in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Riz, this is a delight. I don't want this to end. I have to say it's much easier working with you than Megan. She is tricky.
Yeah, I heard that she's tricky. But she's not around, is she? You promised me that she wouldn't be around?
Yeah. No, we should be good. We're good.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, we'll be right back because in just a few minutes, we've got more nominee announcements coming up.
So that is the first tranche of those Oscar nominations. Let's bring in our top entertainment team here. So the big ones really in that there were the lots of the smaller ones, but supporting actor and supporting actress, and also original screenplay and adapted screenplay.
And it's gone fairly how we expected to in terms of the Irish acting talent that's nominated. Best Supporting Actor, you've got Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin, you've got Barry Keoghan as well for the same film. Brian Tyree Henry, perhaps a bit of a shock there.
I think that was a bit of a surprise for Causeway. Lots of people had rated that performance, but it had been fairly quiet, that film. Perhaps wasn't one that people were talking about so much. So really great to see him in there. The fact is, I guess, a good performance does break through no matter if the chatter isn't there.
Best Supporting Actress, as we said, Angela Bassett has got her
nomination. So that is a big one for Marvel.
Those in the Marvel offices will be popping champagne at this very minute. And like I say, she's already sort of in the front runner to win the category, having already won at the Globes and the Critics' Choice. So, yeah, really exciting moment for them. And again, you've got these pairs, so two actresses from Everything Everywhere All at Once, Jamie Lee Curtis and Stephanie Hsu. So it's interesting to see that they'll be sort of slugging it out against one another to try and come through.
You're in charge of the tally. Am I right in thinking that Everything Everywhere All at Once is leading the
Yeah, at this point, that's the one that's got the most nominations, closely followed by Banshees. I mean, it is only halfway through, but it's a good, strong start for both of those films, which we had expected to do well. And then, yeah, all the others that we expected to pop up have been, including Women Talking and Glass Onion, which maybe they didn't get any at the BAFTAs. So it shows that there really is a divide between what the British Academy and the American Academy are interested in.
But speaking of the BAFTAs as well, last week we were talking about the 12 nominations for All Quiet on the Western Front, this German language film about the First World War. Again, that is a name that's popping up. Certainly, what have they got? Nomination for writing,
sound, music and adapted screenplay, I got.
Yeah.
For that.
It's likely that they'll come up again for makeup, I would have thought, as well, sort of the prediction.
Top Gun got a couple of nominations there in technical category, well, in adapted screenplay and in sound. They'll be pleased with that, won't they?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think everyone just thought it was going to be a summer blockbuster smash. This is sort of the validation that you seek from your peers, that everyone was just sort of blown away with the production values that went into that film. So it'd be interesting to see what else they end up getting.
And those screenplay categories are often really good kind of hints at what we will see in Best Picture. So I think, it's getting exciting.
By surprise.
Yeah, we're almost kind of certain. Or should I say that, to see Top Gun in that best 10 list now? It's shaping up to be a really interesting race, actually.
And then towards the end there, the short film and the animated short film, lots of sniggers at some of the titles in the animated short film. We're going back. They're sparing our blushes. We're going back to
revealing the nominees for the 95th Oscars.
Now, earlier we announced 9 categories. Coming up now are the final 14, including Best Picture.
Here are the nominees for Achievement in Music Original Song. Applause from Tell It Like a Woman. Hold My Hand from Top Gun Maverick. Lift Me Up from Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Natu Natu from RRR. And This Is a Life from Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Now, next up, the nominees for Best Documentary Feature Film. All That Breathes. All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. Fire of Love. A House Made of Splinters. And Navalny.
And here are the nominees for Best Documentary Short Film. The Elephant Whisperers. Haul Out. How Do You Measure a Year? The Martha Mitchell Effect. And Stranger at the Gate.
Here are the nominees for Best International Feature Film. All Quiet on the Western Front, Germany. Argentina, 1985, Argentina. Close, Belgium. EO, Poland. And The Quiet Girl, Ireland.
Here are the nominees for Best Animated Feature Film. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Marcel the Shell with Shoes Off. Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. The Sea Beast. And Turning Red.
Here are the nominees for Achievement in Makeup and Hairstyling. All Quiet on the Western Front. The Batman. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Elvis. And The Whale. Here are the nominees for Achievement in Production Design. All Quiet on the Western Front. Avatar, The Way of Water. Babylon. Elvis. And The Fabelmans.
The nominees for Achievement in Film Editing are The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tar, and Top Gun Maverick.
Next up, the nominees for Achievement in Cinematography. All Quiet on the Western Front. Bardo, False Chronicle and a Handful of Truths. Elvis. Empire of Light. And Tar.
And now, Achievement in Visual Effects. All Quiet on the Western Front. Avatar, The Way of Water. The Batman. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And Top Gun, Maverick. it's time for our final 4 awards. Here are the nominees for performance by an actor in a leading role. Austin Butler in Elvis. Colin Farrell in The Banshees of Inisherin. Brendan Fraser in The Whale. Paul Mescal in After Sun. And Bill Nye in Living.
And now the 5 nominees for performance by an actress in a leading role. Cate Blanchett in Tar. Ana de Armas in Blonde. Andrea Riseborough in To Leslie. Michelle Williams in The Fabelmans. And Michelle Yeoh in Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Just 2 categories remain. The first is Achievement in Directing, and the nominees are Martin McDonagh, The Banshees of Inisherin. Daniel Kwan and Daniel Scheinert, Everything Everywhere All at Once. Steven Spielberg, The Fabelmans. Todd Field, Tar. And Ruben Östlund, Triangle of Sadness.
Now the final category. Here are the 10 nominees for Best Motion Picture of the Year.
All Quiet on the Western Front, Malte Grünet, producer.
Avatar, The Way of Water, James Cameron and John Landau, producers.
The Banshees of Inisherin, Graham Broadbent, Pete Chernin, and Martin McDonagh, producers.
Elvis, Baz Luhrmann, Catherine Martin, Gail Berman, Patrick McCormick, and Skylar Weiss, producers.
Everything Everywhere All at Once, Daniel Kwan, Daniel Scheinert, and Jonathan Wong, producers.
The Fabelmans, Christy McCosco-Krieger, Steven Spielberg, and Tony Kushner, producers.
Tar, Todd Field, Alexandra Milchan, and Scott Lambert, producers.
Top Gun Maverick, Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie, David Ellison, and Jerry Bruckheimer, producers.
Triangle of Sadness, Eric Hemmendorf and Philippe Gobert, producers.
And Women Talking, Dee Dee Gardner, Jeremy Kleiner, and Frances McDormand, producers.
This was such an honor, and huge congratulations to all the nominees.
I hope you really soak up this moment and enjoy everything that lies ahead.
And in case you didn't know, Saturday, February 11th is Global Movie Day. So go see the nominated movies at your local theater, tell them we sent you, and be better prepared for your Oscar pool.
And thank you for joining us, and be sure to watch the 95th Oscars live with host Jimmy Kimmel, Sunday, March 12th.
Well, there we have it. Let's return to Kate Spencer and Claire
Noises
Gregory.
we've had in here.
I know.
Gasping and excitement.
Gasps and all excitement. Any massive surprises?
A really good surprise. Paul Mescal has to be, surely.
I was going to say Andrea Riseborough as well. Come on, nobody's been pushing
Well,
that.
I'd say the Brits, but I don't want to, not include the Irish in this as well. But essentially, people from this side of the pond have done really well in the actor and actress categories.
Yeah, Andrea Riseborough, though, it's such a coup that she's pulled off having this nomination because it's a tiny, tiny, small budget film, hasn't had a distributor. To Leslie, it's called. Her playing a woman who won the lottery, then lost all her money, and then has become struggling with addictions. But it's just been pushed by all of the other actresses who have highlighted it and said, look, you can't have an award season without this woman being mentioned in contention. And brilliant. Now we've got a British actress that we can all talk about in the run-up.
And there are lots of films there that we expected. When we look at the best motion picture category, All Quiet on the Western Front, Avatar, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Top Gun, Tar. They're all ones that we pretty much expected to hear of. But Women Talking, I'd not heard anything about that. What's that film about?
Yeah, Women Talking, it's coming out in the UK fairly soon, so that's why you wouldn't have heard so much about it here yet. But it's about a group of women who are, as it says on the tin, talking. And they're basically having a discussion about whether to leave the highly religious and somewhat abusive community that they're in. But it's an incredible screenplay and it's an incredible ensemble cast because, like I said, there's very little action. It's mostly they're just in one room. Most of the set is just this one barn and they're having this long discussion. So it's a really interesting film.
In that. You've got Claire Foy in that, haven't you?
Yes, you have, and another Irish star, Jessie Buckley.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one to watch out for when it does hit cinemas in a couple of weeks. I think a lot of people will be really pleased to see it in the Best Picture category because there were worries it might get snubbed.
It's interesting how many big blockbusters have made the list as well, because at the moment it's such a strange time for cinema. A lot of the films that are the more interesting intellectual offerings, if you like, they've done so badly at the box office. And it's interesting that actually filtering through into the Best Picture nomination list, certainly it's the ones that have done really well at the box office. Things like Top Gun, which I think before it came out, few people would have ever imagined that Tom Cruise returning in Top Gun would have made it into the Best Picture list at the Academy Awards. That's nominated.
And it was up in quite a lot of the technical categories as well, wasn't it? It's got quite a few nods.
Yeah, I've made it 6 nods. I've been making a tally as we go, so apologies if I'm not quite right. But yeah, certainly a good handful of nods. And Avatar as well, I think they've got 4. That's just past 2 billion at the box office this week. So it shows that you can be a big box office film and an Oscar film now. There's no reason to be one or the other.
But also that you can be a hugely popular film and get nominated now, but not necessarily go down well with the critics, because not many of the critics really were raving about Avatar. But I think the fact that so many people have gone out and seen it, that it's already made billions and is in the sort of top 5 movies that are highest grossing, it shows that, look, it isn't an elitist thing anymore, the Academy Awards. They're trying to think about what people like. And really and truly, if they want people to tune in, they have to include the films that people are watching.
Empire of Light, another relatively small budget British film, that's in there in cinematography, but that's the only nomination for it, which is with Olivia Colman in.
Yeah, that's right. None of the acting nominations that they would have been crossing their fingers for, but a great nod for Sir Roger Deakins, who has won twice before, I believe, and been nominated 15 times.
We like Roger, friend of the show. We can knock him up and try and find out how he's feeling.
Yeah, big fans of his, so really great to see him nominated today.
And Katie, you trailed The Fabelmans. You said you thought that Hollywood might give that a bit of a nod. This is Steven Spielberg's story about how he fell in love with the film and sort of a bit of a biography. That's up there for Best Motion Pictures and got quite a lot of the other categories
done so much better than it did at the BAFTAs.
Yes.
At the BAFTAs, it only got 1 nomination, which just felt a little bit cruel that it hadn't really received much more attention than that. But here, yeah, you've got the Best Director, Steven Spielberg. I think that's going to be an interesting field, isn't it? Triangle of Sadness coming up for Best Director.
Yeah, Ruben Östlund got in there. Although don't forget that film did win the Palme d'Or at Cannes, so it's got form for being.
And what's Triangle of Sadness about?
It's about people that end up marooned on a desert island, but before that, there's a lot of vomiting and quite unpleasant things to watch.
It's really a satire about the rich, isn't it, and the privileged. But it's very funny. But yes, it's not for those week of stuff.
As is the Banshees of Inisherin, I hear as well. So, you know, they were saying, like, you now got to all rush out and watch all of these films. Not a lot of them haven't been released here in the UK anyway. But of those Best Motion Picture films, which are the ones that you would say we should all, you know, which one should we try and see before then?
Banshees of Inisherin is my favourite, but a close run second for me is The Fabelmans, just for a gorgeous kind of all-round, heartwarming tale, if you like, Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I would agree. And also try and fit in After Sun if you can, because that Paul Mescal performance is so special, and it's a small British film, so it's a really lovely moment for that.
Brilliant that, you know, as a small film, it's got him up there as Best Actor nomination. Great, thank you both very much, ladies. Really great to go through it all with you, and look forward to seeing what you're going to wear on the big day. You and the rest of them. Thanks a lot. And a date for your diaries. The Oscars will be shown exclusively live on Sky Showcase from midnight on Sunday, the 12th of March. And here on Sky News, we'll bring you exclusive coverage of the Hollywood red carpet, of course, on the day. And we will have all the winners here on Sky News. That's going to be from 5 a.m. on Monday, the 13th of March.